What's up, everybody? Welcome to Connect with Keeney. We are here live at Connect Cafe and Events in downtown Chillicothe, and boy, do I have an exciting guest today. This dude across the street has built an amazing historical venue in downtown Chillicothe, the Poorhouse at Machinery Hall. And as I began to research the past couple of days about the building and the build out, what looks super cool as a 144-year-old building, I see plumbing, I see electrical, I see hurdles and adversity that nobody else sees. This man's name is Ben Dodders, married, father, entrepreneur, 3 young children. So Ben, welcome to Connect and welcome to the show.
Thanks, Matt. I'm excited to be here and appreciate the invite, and I appreciate the investment that you've made in Chillicothe and the opportunity that you see in our community. That's really that's exciting. I appreciate that.
No, man, thank you. I, just by the grace of God, had the courage to look for a retail space in downtown as I'm trying to grow Keeney's Kitchen, the meal prep company. And I toured this building about 4 years ago, and I just wasn't ready for that step. And then I always knew Chillicothe I felt would benefit from my service. So identify a problem, create a solution.
Yep.
That's all business is.
Yep.
The problem I identified was busy moms and dads. You may know a little bit about that. 3 daughters.
3 daughters.
Do they keep you busy?
We don't ever stop.
Cheerleading, sports,
Volleyball, dance, basketball, boyfriends, dances, on and on and on.
and probably shopping and a little bit of clothes, accessories, and
Thank God for their mom.
for real. Yeah, if my daughter would go to school barely with a ponytail if it wasn't for my wife. And as I came up here, and the second venture, I think we launched in April of 2025 and landed at this building. Man, a dream location. Never thought I didn't even know if I would find a spot in Chillicothe, and to land here was just, I think, a gift from God, and it led to further opportunities. But today's not so much about me, it's about you and your investment in Chillicothe, right? You're a Chillicothe graduate?
Yeah, 2000.
Class of 2000?
Class of 2000.
2001, so I wear a hat to avoid the receding hairline, so yeah, and I can't grow a beard, but we're roughly the same age.
Yep.
So super cool that we are in it together.
Yep.
1 year apart. People think that owning a business is cool, you're special, and maybe it is, but man, it's a ton of responsibility.
I tell people all the time, I think to be in business, and particularly in any food business, you have to be a masochist. You have to truly love pain in order to enjoy what you do.
I agree.
And it definitely takes a certain person to want to work for yourself and to, like you said, have the responsibility of payroll and guests and managing all the things you have to manage, and it never ends.
Yeah, so what we both thought is like, let's open up a restaurant, but what nobody told us was, you need to learn about payroll, you need to learn about inventory, you need to learn about startup cost, and then sales tax and city tax.
Yeah.
And man, the list goes on.
Never
and
ends.
On. I say accounting and tax season gives me still, not anxiety. I really don't have that, but I hate tax season. I don't know. Maybe you're better than me.
I don't know anybody that loves tax season except for maybe accountants. And
for sure.
I don't know. I think that probably by the end of it, they're done with it too. But I think it's like anything. You just have to really. There's certain things about it that you love, and there's certain things about it that you don't love, and taxes are probably one of those things that none of us love, and you just gotta get it done and move on.
Yeah, I say focus on your strengths. So what is Ben good at? What is Matt good at? I know that I don't really like QuickBooks. I delegate that to my wife. I delegate it to a couple CPA administrative assistants that are really good at it, right? So I stick to Ben's strengths, stick to my strengths.
Yep.
And let's delegate what we're not good at.
Yep.
All right, so Ben, you've lived here in Chillicothe, graduate. You're all 42 years, right? You're
43.
43. All right, so quickly, I'm just going to hit you with the first question.
Okay.
Who is Ben Dodders?
I would say father, husband, and someone that is very passionate about our community and wanting to help our community achieve all the things that I think our community is capable of achieving. And so really for me, every day when I wake up, I'm focused on being the best husband I can be, the best father I can be, and finding ways that I can contribute and positively make an impact on our community. It's really where my passion lies.
Yeah, that's great, because the Poorhouse at Machinery Hall, it is it's a downtown Columbus experience. Kudos to you. I haven't really got a chance to talk to you about your building and the inside, but I'm terrible at architect. I'm terrible at decor. And when I walk in your place, it's like, man, there has been tender love, preparation, hard work, probably sanding floors to epoxy to paint. Everything has been thought out and probably questioned and thought out a little bit more. And man, does this black look good? And from the seating to the way your bar is laid out to the inside garage door, which I'm intrigued about. I saw the garage door, but I didn't.
Yeah, there's a story behind that.
Okay.
Yeah. I think for me, these old buildings are, number one, they're amazing. You can't build what these old buildings have to offer today. You can't do it. And then you take that, and then you couple the fact that there's so much history and the walls have so many stories, and that just is absolutely intriguing to me. And so the challenge becomes, how do you take a 2025 operation and plug it into something that is over 100 years old? And in the case of our building, it's pushing 145 years old.
Yeah. And
so you really, I think that the key is you really have to take what the building gives you. You have to take the bones of what the building has to offer and really highlight the beauty of it, and figure out okay, how do I work within the constraints of that, and make the place something special. And that's what we try to do with the Poorhouse. And so we jumped into that project in 2015, 2016, and it was important for us at the time for my wife and I to create a space that really added value to the downtown, and celebrated the historical significance of what that building is.
Yeah.
And this is where, being naive, we thought the hard part of the project was going to be the construction of it, and operating the restaurant was going to be the easy part. And man, we were totally backwards on that. But we really did our research on the building. We consulted with the folks at the Historical Society. We tried to find old pictures. We tried to find old documentation from the Ross County Recorder from 1880, and really pull as many of those elements into the reconstruction of the building as we could. And it was important for us to get the details correct.
Yeah.
For me, we have one of our guiding values with the Poorhouse is flawless execution.
Nice.
And flawless execution, when you just frame it in terms of that, a lot of people think you're saying perfection, and perfection is not achievable. It's not realistic. It's something, I guess, to shoot for. But if that's your objective, you're gonna always feel you're always gonna feel like you're failing. So for us, flawless execution is doing all the little things to the absolute best of our ability. So making sure that every dish is garnished correctly, and if there's a piece of trash on the floor, stop and pick it up. Don't just look at it and walk past it. So little things are flawless execution, and that started with us with the construction of the building. So things like restoring the cornice up on the outer facade, and restoring historically correct windows to the correct size, and just doing the little details, the paint colors on the exterior, making sure that all that was correct was so important for really, again, not only hopefully adding value to the community, but also laying the foundation for hopefully what is a great restaurant down the road to say flawless execution. This is how we do it. It started from the beginning on our approach to restoring a building built in 1881.
Yeah, and you and your wife did an incredible job. You cannot go in there and not respect the outward appearance, but I immediately look inward to all the thought, the dedication, the hard work, the behind the scenes, like you said, the 6, 7, 8, 9 months of the construction phase, and then always the building maintenance throughout the year.
Yeah.
The mopping, the cleaning, the wiping the cobwebs from the ceiling, everything that we as business owners know that needs to get done, but the consumers comes in and they just want that Second Street club sandwich to be perfection. And we
Right.
see the
We see everything. We
Yeah.
see every imperfection, and it drives us crazy.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. The historical downtown, I'm from Scioto County, Portsmouth area has a historical part.
Yeah.
I think Chillicothe is a couple of decades, maybe 10, 20 years ahead of them in the progress. But I know Portsmouth is striving, and as well as other small towns around the state. Like when you come to downtown Chillicothe, you know it's something special. And I would vouch to say that sometimes people within the hometown they just take it for granted, right? They see the imperfections versus they don't see Ben and Kelly invested, thousands of dollars on in a construction phase to add value to the community. They just see, the paper mill shut down.
Sure.
There's homeless people on 2nd Street, but I know anybody, my guest from Lucasville, just 40 minutes south, and Columbus, when they come down, like, wow, there's something special about this town. And I agree. When my wife and I came up here and started Keeney's Kitchen Venue, like I spent days. Every time I got up here, I just want to take a walk around the block, look at the historical, look at the buildings, and see that, the abundance mindset. Even though there's, probably 5 coffee shops in town. If you have the abundance mindset, I think you will always be taken care of. You're in the food and hospitality service. You'd be lying to yourself if there wasn't 10 other quality restaurants.
Sure.
But also, hopefully, that's what's driving people down here. So whenever they do have hibachi, the following weekend, they're going to stop into your place because, we don't like to eat the same food every Friday.
Absolutely. You talk about the abundance, and we've touched on the architecture a little bit, but I think one of the things that makes Chillicothe and Ross County great is really the culture of the people. There really is such a sense of a tight-knit community here, and we really leverage that as a group of people, and we all support each other. We all want to work together, and I think that when you take that mindset as a community, you can continue to build that bigger tent. And when you build a bigger tent, you have room for not 5 but 50 coffee shops or whatever the number is.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will ask me, well, would you be threatened if another restaurant opened next door across the street? And I'm like, no, please. Like, I want 2 or 3 more great restaurants right around us to go along with all the other great places in downtown, because to your point, Matt, you create that synergy where people just want to come here. And when they come here, they'll find us, they'll find you, they'll find everybody else, and then they'll go and they'll tell a story about not only how great you are and how great everything else is, but really how great the community is. And I think that over the long run, that's how we continue to build this tent bigger.
For sure.
And, I think that that's how you can overcome things like a legacy paper plant closing. You can find opportunities for a rebirth there, and you can find opportunities for something even better than what you could have imagined what it already was. The future can be better than the past.
Yeah.
And that's a really neat thing that I think that a group of people coming together, working towards that common end state can make that happen.
Well, good job, Ben. It's so I can just see your sincerity to Ross County, to Chillicothe, since the few words that we've spoken. Like, I can sense what's in your heart. It's passion.
Well, I appreciate
it's
that.
excitement. And so let's go. Take me back to the beginning. We're going to talk about 2016.
Okay.
You and your wife sitting around the kitchen table, have some dinner, probably doing laundry, changing dirty diapers, all the above. And then you tell Kelly, hey, I think I should, maybe we should start a restaurant.
So can I back up a little earlier than 2016?
Yeah, please.
So 2000, I graduated from CHS, went to OU.
Okay.
With the intention of getting a business degree. So I started in the business college there. I always had, I was always called to military service. I was always interested in the military. My grandfather was a World War II vet. in '92, I got to go on a trip with him to Normandy for the 50th anniversary of D-Day and kind of walk with him some of the places that he experienced 50 years earlier. And I think that at a very young age that inspired me for military service. And so in 2001, when I was at OU, I actually enrolled, while I was in the business school, I actually started an ROTC.
Okay.
And got commissioned in 2004 when I graduated as an officer in the Army. And Kelly and I went off for the next 8 years all over the country. Had a couple deployments and all that sort of thing. But in the process of being away from Chillicothe for those 8 years, we got to experience a bunch of really interesting places. We got to see meet a ton of interesting people, and it really shaped, I think, the foundation for what would come when we moved back to Chillicothe. But when we were gone, we would always register. We'd be in some cool restaurant or some cool downtown or wherever it was, and we'd say like, man, why don't we have this in Chillicothe? And I don't think, in the moment we didn't realize that we were registering these memories of 1,000 different places that we'd either seen or experienced or whatever. And then fast forward to 2016 when we're sitting around the kitchen table talking about like, what can we do to be like, we're laying down roots here in Chillicothe. Yeah. Like, what can we do to help fuel this thing and make it a better community for our kids than it was for us? And I think that's where the quilt work of all these thousands of memories that we had collected really formed a quilt work for what the poorhouse is today, and I think for what is to come down the road. And so that for us was kind of the foundation of the vision and the dream.
Yeah, and what I think is key, what I took from that is experiences. In 2004, you, like the ROTC, you went on your journey for 8 years.
Yeah.
Collective data of experiences. So often, people stay in the same hometown, and they don't experience life outside of Chillicothe, so we don't even know. But you and your wife was blessed with the opportunity to travel the world, experience, to taste, to look, to see, to smell, and then compiled all that in. And when you got back, you was loaded with a blueprint.
Yep.
All right, a blank slate. You see a building, and then you have your quilts, layer after layer after layer. How do we build our expression into the machinery hall? And then, was it a quick go? Do we go for it? Like, how does the process come about?
So in 2012, when I was getting out of the Army, we were looking at, I was talking to various like corporate recruiters that specialize in recruiting junior military officers, and I was a captain when I was getting out, so that was kind of like their bread and butter, that they want to leverage those experiences and place them into corporate America. And we were looking at those different routes, and I would imagine that if I would have went that route, I probably would have made a pretty good go of it.
Sure.
But the thing for us was home always kept calling. Every time we would look at this opportunity, that opportunity, or the other opportunity, home is always like, family's here, friends are here. This is where we grew up. This is where our foundation is. And so ultimately we made the decision like, I think we need to go home. We need to go back to Chillicothe. And then the question became like, how do we pay the bills? And I was very blessed at the time. My parents had just bought the local Dairy Queen franchise territory.
Okay.
And they were buying it with the intention of it kind of being like a retirement job for them. They were ready to start slowing down, but didn't want to like totally check out of the entrepreneurial world and that sort of thing. And, I was talking to my dad and I was like, hey, how about I come home? You guys just got into this. I'll help you out for maybe 6 months or a year. I don't know, like a short period of time. And it'll kind of help us, like it'll help you out. I'll be here to support you and see what I can do to help out. But at the same time, it'll kind of like be this on-ramp for us to transition from the Army back to the civilian world. And then I'll find like a real job in this interim time. And we quickly got into the Dairy Queen, and we're like, my wife and I are looking at each other and we're like, there's an opportunity here to really expand that local brand and bring some modernization to it, and see if we can figure something out. So it was in 2013, pretty much right away, we said, there's an opportunity to open a new Dairy Queen on Bridge Street. And we jumped right on that. I had never owned a business.
Yeah.
I had never done a construction project. I had never signed a lease on a corporate, on a commercial space.
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea what I was doing. And we just said, you know what, let's just jump in and figure it out. And we did. And so 2013, we opened up the Bridge Street Dairy Queen. And, we're 2 years into it in 2015, and we're sitting around the kitchen table having that conversation you alluded to. And, very naively and ignorantly at the time, I'm like, oh, we've been to the Dairy Queen for 2 years. Like, I know everything I need to know about food service and about this and about running a business. And it's probably a good thing that we were as ignorant as we were, because it would have been a hard sell to say, like, if you knew everything that you know you're going into, would you do it? And I don't know. Sometimes ignorance really is bliss.
And Ben, I've had the pleasure to interview 6 amazing guests over the past 6 weeks and high-level achievers, and it comes down to that same conversation. Is like, if I had any common sense tells you no, right? But the delusion and the betting on yourself, and I was a terrible employee. I had the opportunity. I worked at the A plant in Piketon. That is the mecca job. Kenworth or A plant. Those are the 2 big-time employers, and the paper mill.
Yep.
And once you get on, it's like, that's a 30-year tenure. You're good. Take care of the family.
Absolutely.
And I would like almost cry as a grown man going into work because I hated it. I'm getting paid 60, 70, 80, up to 100K at one point. Incredible wage, but just hating my life. Couldn't wait to get off work so I can get a 12-pack of beer.
Sure.
Drinking the beer just to numb the pain, get by.
Right.
But the common thread in all these conversations is, if you knew exactly what it took, we would probably all say no. But when you got the itch, you was blessed by role models with your family, seeing your mom and dad execute, being entrepreneurs. You have the military background, which is all about efficiency, standards, discipline, routine. Yep. So you're setting yourself up literally to, I think the difference between being successful and unsuccessful is be willing to do what the unsuccessful person is not willing to do.
Yeah.
When I read that quote, it's like, you tell me if I just wake up and be consistent, have minimal distractions, that I can be like, there's a family name in Southern Ohio, the Glockner family. They have multiple car dealerships.
Sure.
And it's like, that's the difference. They've just woke up and did what nobody else would do for 178 years.
Yeah.
And that's the common theme. So you and Kelly decide, let's go for it.
Let's go for it.
And let's pick a building that was built in 1881. And so what's that? 7 months probably feels like eternity. You're probably wanting to open in 2 to 3 months like me. Did you just have to just relax sometimes and be, hey, when it happens, it happens?
Yeah, to an extent. And we jumped into a building that had all sorts of structural issues. The roof on the 3rd floor was caving in, and the whole back of the building, the back 100 feet, we ended up demolishing it and rebuilding a brand new space. So it was just like problem after problem after problem, which, again, like, once you go through one of these projects, you're like, oh yeah, that's to be expected. In the moment, I was like, oh my God, what are we doing here? Like, more money, more time, more money, more time. Like, how are we going to figure this out? But, to your point a minute ago, like, you just keep your head down and you keep working. And
can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Did you start out with like this is what some people, and I'm still learning, business loans? Do I take on investors, capital? Whenever you started that project and identified that building, like, did you have a budget? Like, hey, like, I'm trying to start with this?
We did. So yeah, we looked at obviously the big things. What's the real estate acquisition cost? We got pretty detailed construction estimates. We knew what our equipment build out was going to be, furniture, fixtures, equipment. So we put together a pretty detailed budget, put together that business plan, and then approached a pretty large financial institution, and thank God for them. They took a chance on me, and gave us a pretty sizable loan to get started. And had it not been for that, Of course, we had to put our own capital into the game.
Sure.
That was a requirement of the bank, but thank God for the lender, thank God for the SBA, because that's really what gave us that's what opened the door for us to be able to start down this road.
And Ben, if I could tie in to this right here to any listener, people ask me often, like, Matt, how have you done it, or how have you got success, or how do you just keep showing up? And I say, I got a pen right here. Whenever you sign your name, when you sign Ben Dodders to a loan, the SBA or any type of loan, the financial institution, which I've signed multiple times.
Yeah.
Built out of a fitness facility, built out of a meal prep facility, built out on, I got 3 transit vans that unfortunately they're $75,000 each. So I got $225,000 in 3 vehicles.
Yep.
I started this project with $0.
Yeah.
7 years ago. So the answer is, how do you do it? You sign your name to a piece of paper that has a commitment that I agree to pay X, Y, and Z. So if that's 1 o'clock in the morning on Friday, if that's 2 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, that I know I'm showing up regardless of who else is around. And I'm just so happen I'm going to try to build a relationship with my staff that, hey, I need you at 2 o'clock in the morning. I need you at 10 o'clock on Monday night. And I think that's, if people would ask you, Ben, how have you done it? Ben and his wife signed your name to a piece of paper that there was no going back. Would you agree?
Oh yeah. I mean, once you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
And you can't be half in. You have to be all the way in.
Agree.
To your point, all day, every day. There just is no compromise. But I think for me, I think the military gave me a really good foundation for that. I had the privilege of going to Ranger School. 62 of the hardest days of my life. You lose 40 pounds in 62 days. You sleep a couple hours a day.
Yeah.
If you're lucky.
That's training you. That's training you right now for what you're doing today.
That is really, I think, in large part for me, what laid that foundation of, you just don't quit. You put one foot in front of the other. Surrender is not a compromise. And, that was really a mentality that I took, when I was in Afghanistan, leading a company of 170 men. And it's really a philosophy that carries us today. Yeah. And the last 7 years have certainly not been easy. Yeah. Anybody that was in business in 2020, going through all of the challenges,
hoops and hurdles,
through COVID, out of COVID, and it's a lot of people quit, and you can't fault them for that. But the people that are here today are the ones that, I don't know, for better or worse, just put their head down and said, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to keep going. And, God willing, that's, we get the opportunity to continue to do that for many, many years to come.
Yeah. I just had an interview yesterday with one of my first CrossFit coaches, Dale King, out of Portsmouth. He's an Army veteran. And as we were talking yesterday about exercise in the military, he said the greatest adaptation is what happens between your ears through hard work, through the Ranger School, through the CrossFit workout, through business. How do you handle a stressful day? How do you handle a low day? Whenever you can learn to have a successful adaptation between the ears is whenever, you can defeat odds.
Yeah.
And I love that quote by him. And I think I missed my call also. And it's, it comes back to leadership, entrepreneurs, growth mindset, abundance. At about 22 or 24, I was super lost, athletic, but terrible college student. And I went to a recruiter and was like, sign me up. I need out of here.
Yeah.
And I was about 12, 14 hours away from even graduating college. He said, no, you need to graduate college, then come back as an officer.
Yep.
Well, it just took me about another 3 years to get 12 hours of college credits before I graduated, and then I met my wife. But I do think that I would enjoy the military experience, because now my life is military, in bed by 10 o'clock, alarm clock goes off at 4, and just have some routines in place.
That discipline, that self-drive.
Yeah. All right, so we're finishing up the rehabilitation process of the building, which was, we could probably talk a day about that, just at the hoops and hurdles.
Yeah.
And what are you most proud of when we're going to walk down to your shop today, and I'm excited to see your passion. That's your building now. I mean, it was built in 1881, but you've rehabilitated it. It has its own vibes and energy, and that's due to the love that you and Kelly have poured into it. What are you most proud of?
I think first and foremost our team.
Yeah.
We are blessed with just really amazing people, and at the end of the day, they're the ones that make it happen.
100%.
You know, obviously we're there, we're present, we put our time into it, but the truth is they're the ones that make it happen on a daily basis. And so I think by far the thing that we're most proud of is our people. I think the next thing is, you know, we were sitting in there, Kelly and I were sitting in the restaurant the other day having brunch, and just to kind of sit there for a minute and be still and be quiet and look at the room and look at the people and look at the energy and look how many people are happy, and to know that like you've created something that brings life to people, brings people together, makes them happy, brings, you know, your big thing is connection. That's our big thing too. And, you know, we talked about experience, like all of those things, to be able to just sit there and see it. It's, man, it's an amazing gift to be able to just watch. It's really cool.
For sure. And I dive into two words like, what is success? What is wealth? I think those are words that are ever changing. I think when you're young, coming from poverty, you think money is wealth, right?
Sure.
You ask the blind person, they're going to say sight is wealth. You ask a billionaire, they're going to say privacy is wealth. But I think one thing that you and I both share, and many entrepreneurs share, is when you're able to give a service and see other people smile, that is, I get my cup filled every single day when I see somebody come in and get a salmon from the meal prep company that they can be eating, and about 90 seconds later, it's adding value, and they're thanking me. Thank you for this quick salmon.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, thank you for being a customer.
Right.
But whenever you're able to provide service, not really expect anything in return, and that's when life gets really fulfilling.
Yeah.
And if you and Kelly could sit back on a Friday or Thursday evening in a corner and just watch, I would almost challenge, maybe you have, but if you could just be in a corner and take in 2 or 3 hours, be in disguise, whatever, and just like observe the room. Yeah. I bet that would be a super cool experience for you too.
Yeah. It's an amazing thing.
Yeah. All right, well, let's talk about, we're going to talk about business now, okay? You have an exceptional menu. I have zero culinary background. I built a meal prep company based on exercise, chicken breast, green beans, potatoes, that I can just somewhat make healthy food taste good.
Yep.
I'm not a culinary expert. I do have a wide palate. I love traveling to restaurants. About the only thing I don't eat is oysters, I believe.
Okay,
I just haven't had them cooked right. But I'll eat anything. Do you have any culinary experience?
Zero.
I love it.
Same as you. Like, I love to eat. I love a good drink. I love a good beer. I love a good cocktail. I love a good glass of wine. But no.
Yeah,
I enjoy cooking, but no, I'm not a chef.
Yeah, so you and I are what I like to say is a practitioner.
Yeah.
Like I always say, you don't have to have a degree to get started. If I'm going to get a house built, I'm going to go to the guy in town that's built houses for 30 years.
Absolutely.
I don't. If the guy shows up in a suit that says he has a business degree, let me build your house. No, I'm going to the man, has the beard, has wrinkles,
Absolutely.
has dirt in his fingernails.
Absolutely.
So being a practitioner, practicing back with your staff. Okay, so through experience, you took all those places around the world and built your menu. Talk about your options, and does it change seasonally, and how important is that to you?
So I think the big thing for Kelly and I is we have a vision and a concept within that vision of what the restaurant is, what the decor looks like, what the hospitality is, what the menu is. We then kind of went from there and said, like, okay, how do we find the best people that we can invite to be part of this team?
Yeah.
And really give them the guidance and the creative space to almost tell us, like, hey, Ben, within the framework of what you're saying here, like, I think that we should do this, or I think we should do that, and this is how we're going to do it. And then for me, you know, we really just take a step back and say, like, all right, make it happen.
Make it. Let me test it.
Yeah.
Let me taste it.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, just show me, do it. And so I think one of the areas that we have found success is that we really pride ourselves in giving our team the creative space to, kind of within the framework of who we are and what we're trying to accomplish, give them the creative space to figure it out. And again, not being the person that's a chef and not being the person that's like a mixologist, but being able to be the person that finds great people to be on a team with and give them that space. I think that's where we found the success that we have so far.
Incredible, man. I've been studying kitchens, culinary, business hard for the past 7 years, and you are crushing these questions. Same thing within my Keeney's Kitchen umbrella. The first thing I do is try to focus on their strengths and positivity. What are your strengths, and how can I facilitate your growth within our umbrella? I want them to take control of the menu. Bring me an idea. I don't want to be Matt's menu. And whenever you give people ownership, it makes them feel a bigger part of the team. And then on the backside of you and I know is kitchen attrition, staff turnover. I mean, no, just don't beat around the bush about it. It's tough.
It's tough.
The hardest thing in, I would say, the service business, hospitality, is turnover.
Yeah.
And then when you can have staff members that have a 2, a 3, a 5, a 6 year stint with you, it really facilitates not only their growth, if you're able to delegate them responsibility and skills. I always tell my staff, I want to pay you the most I can, right? Show me your skills. I'm not going to pay you off your time here. I'm going to pay you off your skill set. So if you're the best, if you're on your 10th day of service and you're the best chef or kitchen assistant, I'm going to find a way to facilitate that on your paycheck. And as you grow your team and delegate, I think that makes the poorhouse, that sets you apart from others. Because there is some businesses that there will be an owner or the chef, it's my way or no way.
Yeah.
And then that lowers the ceiling of your staff, and then they just come in and play by the rules.
Yeah.
So if you can get them to be creativity and be part of the system, it's going to facilitate all the way around.
Well, and I mean, we talk a lot about we all own the business.
Yeah.
And it's not just Kelly and I. It's everyone, including our guests, own the business. And I think that the more that we can take that kind of shared approach, we all have ownership here. Hopefully, it's gonna lead to the best outcome that we can get.
So
this coffee is really good, by the way.
Well, it's a little
I'm enjoying
sweet.
it. I appreciate it.
Shout out Connect Cafe. We are 7 days into this operation. We had a 40 week of staff training. We soft opened last Thursday. We plan to do a grand opening around December 3rd or 4th, but my main concern is making my staff feel comfortable.
Sure.
I don't want a line of 14 or 15, them get frazzled and not come back. So it's going to be a slow operation.
I think that's smart.
And as well as me, I was tell you from day one, I'm not a coffee connoisseur. We're going to have good coffee, but more so, I'm more intrigued about human interaction, connection, positivity.
Yeah.
And I want somebody to come on there on their worst day and leave feeling uplifted.
Absolutely.
Man, and I'm sure you share the same values. So about 2022, we're at 2022 now. You've got settled in. You've survived a little bit of COVID. COVID was 19, 20. We're exiting COVID.
Yeah.
And then you say, well, let's expand a little bit.
Yeah. So you're going at the rooftop terrace.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
So the original vision was always to have a rooftop space. And I mentioned that during the initial construction, we had to tear the back 100 feet of the building off because it wasn't structurally sound. And so when we rebuilt it, we framed it up with the intention of someday being able to have a rooftop space. And it wasn't in the budget on day one. So coming out of COVID, we were able to leverage some of our PPP money.
Okay.
And we really took that PPP money, and we were blessed. We were in a good spot where financially we didn't necessarily need those funds to keep the business operating. We were able to invest them instead on long-term growth, long-term survival of the restaurant. And that's when we jumped in and started the construction of the rooftop terrace.
Okay, that's super smart. Okay, kudos to you. And what some people don't understand is during that time, I think you would know there were some businesses that was able to acquire some money. And
A lot of money.
A lot of money.
A lot of money was given out during COVID.
And it could have went to vacations in Belize. It could have went to new sports cars. So being as the
A new wing on the vacation lake house.
Yeah, for sure.
I've heard a lot of those stories.
You seized an opportunity. I mean, they were given it. You had to apply for it. You had to be be a good steward. You had to go through the hoops and hurdles, the paperwork.
Yep.
But whenever you seen an opportunity of, hey, this money is available, me and my family can go to Hawaii for a month. Or you're like, no, I'm going to put it right back in the building because this is where we're going to be.
Yeah, I mean,
super cool.
Yeah, so the whole premise of the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, was to keep people employed.
Yep.
And so, I guess the argument is, are you going to employ them today, or are you going to continue to employ them tomorrow? And again, we were blessed. We were in a position where we could employ them today. So we really focused on how do we employ them tomorrow, and what can we do to continue to expand, diversify, and strengthen the brand. And that's what for us was the catalyst of doing the rooftop expansion. And so that's a space that has seating for about 60 guests. It overlooks the majestic courtyard. It's got a fire pit, so this time of year, we're fall weather, cool evenings. It's a great place to just hang out. Again, back to the theme of connecting. Connect with friends. Maybe meet somebody new, fall in love. Whatever it is, like that's really what we want that terrace to be. We want it to be a socially engaging space, something that is a little bit different than what you might traditionally expect inside on the main floor of the restaurant.
Sure. Yeah, and we're gonna head down to your shop, or your kitchen, your pour house here in just a few moments. And I've never seen the upstairs, and I'm really excited
to show it to you.
I want to see the history. I want to see the craftsmanship, because I'm not very good at any of that. I'm not a good carpenter. I'm terrible. I'm the worst at working on cars. I'm the worst at remodeling. So I just subbed that
But you know who to call.
You know who to call. Did you do any of the work yourself throughout the process?
Gosh, no.
Just subbed it out as well.
Yeah, hired a GC, and again, like finding great people in the community. We've worked. This is one of the things that I'm proud of is you do these projects, and you hire local people, you hire local craftsmen, and then they're hiring the local plumber and the local electrician, and it just goes on and on from there. And again, it's like, how do we continue? Talked about it earlier. How do we build the tent bigger? How do we make the snowball bigger and bigger and bigger and support everybody and grow the tent bigger? And that was one of the things I think that we're proud of out of these projects that we've been able to do is expand the local economy and help everybody to be better.
Same thing, man. My 3 pillars, the foundation of this business is connect, culture, collaboration. And I'll tell you a unique story. I was with Dre out in the parking lot here, and a construction guy walks up, shakes his hand, knows Dre, introduced myself, and he mentioned construction. And immediately I said, hey, I need a construction guy. He shook my hand. I came in and showed him the stage project that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I'm not very handy, but we shook hands, and I said, hey, I need somebody local that I can count on. If something happens, he's like, I'm your guy. And already in the month, like I've called him 2 or 3 times. He makes sure to stop by. It's just super cool to build a team that know that, hey, I'm going to compensate you for your time, but also like you're going to
count on them.
Yeah, you're going to fix this light that I have no idea.
Yeah.
And I met so many good people in downtown, and you're just light years ahead of me with the connections. But that's why I'm excited to.
So I'm curious, what drove you and your wife to choose Chillicothe?
So as I'm growing Keeney's Kitchen Meal Prep, I'm in a small town of 1,800.
Yeah.
What I was able to do was take a footprint of low, not a huge startup cost. I found a building that had been vacant. I felt like it was a good price point, and I immediately invested in incredible technology equipment. My ovens are the combi ovens that cook with heat, moisture. I can cook about 120 pounds of steak or chicken breast in 8 to 12 minutes, and it's cooked to perfection. These ovens are on cruise ships, Hyatts, things like that. When I went to purchase those, my mom literally cried, said, Matt, you're making a mistake. You need to get marketplace, $1,500 grill. She was just worried about her son, right? She was
Sure.
going to invest in a crazy amount of money. I said, Mom, I'm going to serve all of Ohio. Like, you don't see what I see. Like, I'm not, this is a starting point. And I have a mentor out of Columbus. So I went from Lucasville to a mentor in Columbus. As I grew my confidence, grew my bandwidth, I was thinking, hey, if I could load up a couple of vans in Lucasville, take them to Columbus and serve the downtown. But I needed just some type of confidence. And I reached out to a mentor, a friend of mine I looked up to, and I said, hey, would you just help me navigate this? He gave me some wisdom, and we started with there. That started growing, and so we're sending 50 to 75 orders to Columbus every weekend on a van. My average transaction is a $75 to $150 transaction, so you could do the math, like it's well worth me sending a van from Lucasville. And I just market as I'm a business in Chillicothe, since it's direct to consumer. And then that became sustainable, confident. I was like, man, anytime I get complacent, I feel like there's time for more. And then I identified Chillicothe between Columbus and Lucasville. There's no meal prep market here. So I just said it. I like to say things out loud. I speak them into existence. I looked at Corey, my mentor. I said, hey, I'm open in Chillicothe. Got on Facebook. I said, hey, Facebook, do your thing. I'm seeking real estate space. And 60, 85 people commented, like telling me all these spaces. Then through power of connections, through the grace of God, I was led to this space here. And why Chillicothe? I see my wife and I, when we shop, we have two options in Southern Ohio. You drive to Chillicothe or you drive to Ashland, Kentucky. We travel up here to Longhorns a lot. I'm just now learning the past 6 months the power of downtown. Now I try to avoid Bridge Street and shop local, eat local. Hibachi's, Dock of the Water, all amazing locations. And I want to support everybody here and make it a point. I told my wife every weekend we're just going to pick a different restaurant and just keep going around the block.
That's great.
Year round. And so that's what led us to Chillicothe, just because I saw a need, I saw a population, and I thought I wanted to serve.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thanks for choosing Chillicothe.
Yeah, and God just keeps providing and connections and relationships, and now you and I are setting in a podcast based on a 5-minute conversation that I had and kudos to you, man. I like to initiate conversations inside my space here, right? At Connect Cafe or Keeney's, walk up, shake a customer's hand, tell them things. Because so often when you go to a Texas Roadhouse, a Longhorns, there is no personal connection. And I want to commend you. You walked out of your way. You shook my hand, said, hey, I'm Ben. And then maybe you recognize me from just blowing up social media or a new guy in town. But you didn't have to, right? You could have walked past me, but you initiated a relationship. And I think you probably were just saying, hey, thanks for coming into my place. Yeah, and we loved it. My wife came back a couple days later and brought all her friends, and I can't wait to go there again for another item on this incredible menu.
Yeah, thank you.
So we've talked culinary, we've talked a little bit about the infrastructure, talked family, you and Kelly. I'm intrigued by this word, balance, in entrepreneurship and business. My definition may differ than yours, but you got this new up-and-coming entrepreneur, and they expect they're going to have balance in their life. Would you give them any advice?
Balance comes, but it comes after patience. I think for me, balance is the ability to take my kids to school in the morning. Balance for me is to be able to be at almost every sporting event. Balance for me is to be able to spend time on the weekends together, to be able to take a week-long vacation in the summer, to be able to sit down around the dinner table and have dinner together as a family and talk about our day. Those things come, but the work has to come first.
Absolutely.
You have to make those sacrifices in the beginning in order to hopefully get to a point where you can achieve, what I just defined as balance. And you mentioned balance for you might be something else, and balance for it's all different for all of us. But I think, if I were talking to a young entrepreneur, I'd say, like, you got to commit to be there when you have to be there, not when you want to be there.
When you Yeah, don't want to be there. You got to be there regardless.
Absolutely.
When you do,
and
when you don't.
and still, like when you're on vacation and there's a 5-alarm fire at the business, like you better figure out how to solve it, and hopefully you're in a position where you've got a great team that you can just support and guide from a distance, that they can, you know, work through those problems independently.
Yeah.
But I would say it takes patience to be able to get to the point of, you know, balance. Everyone looks at a business owner and they're like, oh, you have all this money and you have all this freedom, you have all this, and it's like, the people that know that that's not the case.
A scarce mindset would say, yeah, you are wealthy, you have all the time. The growth mindset individual is going to see, like, no, it's been years of discipline, hard work.
Yeah.
And my answer would be the discipline equals freedom, right?
Absolutely.
From 2016 to 2024, the way you operated, the way you showed up, early mornings, late nights, built your staff. But a young entrepreneur, if you're not willing to sacrifice years, months, years. I looked at my wife when we started the meal prep company in 2022. I said, look, I'm going to give this thing everything I have for as long as I have for you to have the opportunity to walk away from your job. There'll be 14-hour days, 16-hour days. I'll always make a commitment to be at the ball game, but I might have to go right back to work.
Right.
And it took me 2 years, from daylight to dark, daylight to dark. And I looked at her when we launched the Columbus. I launched Columbus specifically and said, I think this can replace your teaching salary. And she's a creature of habit, she likes her $500 paycheck and da-da-da.
Sure.
Was scared. And through my crazy ways and through my discipline of waking up and keep speaking these things into existence and keep checkmarking them, she submitted her resignation. So she's going on her second year of not teaching, but she's busier now than ever. She's found her weave spiderweb inside our fitness, inside the meal prep. She's great at Excel and great at organization. Me, terrible at organization. I'm very creativity.
Right.
You might be the same, or maybe you're a numbers guy, but I love numbers, but I like to speak them out and just hopefully somebody else writes them down.
Sure.
And that's been the discipline created the freedom. And so many people just want the freedom at the beginning and wonder why their business fails.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, kudos to you and congratulations. I mean, it's I know how hard it is, and I know how much sacrifice goes into getting to the point where you're at right now. And you know, congratulations. That's it's not easy. It's not easy.
And Ben, I shared this with a friend the other day. Is like I start the day at 5 a.m. inside my fitness facility. It's kind of like a hobby now, but at one time it paid me a very good wage to train people. I still start the day there at 5 a.m. I typically swing by 1 or 2 Keeney's Kitchen meal preps by 7 a.m. I try to be up here by 8 or 9 a.m. I'm at my third business by 9 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
And I take it for granted. It's just what I do.
Right. It's just your routine.
But then a friend of mine reminded me the other day, I was like, I never looked at it like that. It's just what I do. And all right, so a little bit, help me. So I'm 6 months in. I made a commitment here to Connect Cafe, which was a previous, it's a newer building. I think it was built in 2019, 2020.
Great building.
Which doesn't have all the history or the great building, but totally differs from your building, right? You walk in and just feel the nostalgia.
Sure.
I'm still trying to create my own vibes and create my own energy inside the place. What do you most enjoy about downtown?
I think one of the things that I really love is being able to just walk down the street and run into somebody I know.
Yeah.
Go into, I mentioned I like to have a beer. I love to be able to go into OCB and taste a great beer at Old Capitol and be able to see somebody that I know, maybe that I haven't seen in a while, or just catch up, or gosh, it keeps coming up over and over again. But this theme of connection, I think that's one of the things I love about the downtown is that you can just it's a place to connect with people and to be part of this great community.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. It's so cool that you're going to see somebody, you're going to see another business owner, high five, and the goal is abundance, high five, support. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to lead us into another one. You just mentioned beer, man. I love the taste of beer. I drink beer for a long time and a lot, and still love the taste.
Sure.
Right? Question to you. How do you operate daily, 5 to 7 days a week inside your facility without participating at the same time?
That's easy. I mean, to me, there's a very clear line there, and for me, it's not even a question of is it hard to stay on one side of the line. It's not even a question because it goes back to that discipline. We've all seen and heard the stories about the bar owner that is drunk all day and is failing.
Yeah.
No one takes them seriously, and they don't take themselves seriously.
Yeah.
And so I love to go into the restaurant as a guest. My wife and I, we and our family, we eat there at least once, sometimes multiple times a week.
Sure.
And there's a clear line for me when I come in as Ben the guest. I'm just Ben the guest. I'm not Ben the owner. I want to sit down. I want to have a meal. I want to have a great experience. Enjoy what we have to offer. And then walk back out the front door. But when it's time to be Ben the owner, I come in the back door, and there's a clear line there. And I just think, you have to remember what the purpose of it is. You have to stay disciplined. You have to stay focused. And for me, it's not hard to draw that distinction.
So what I took from that is standards. When Ben walks to the front, I'm a guest. The back, no temptation. Hey, Ben, try this. Is like, no, I'm Ben the owner. I'm leading by example because I always say as the owner, the general manager, if you walk in tired, if your general manager walks in tired, he or she walks in frazzled, that gives every employee the right to mimic that behavior. You have to walk in, treat everybody kind, show up with energy. If you don't bring energy, sometimes it's an act.
Yeah.
I think ownership and entrepreneurship, we have to act it into existence. I know you're tired, but when you walk in,
You always got to be on.
You can't allow your staff to mimic. You want them to mimic the positive, but even though if you're hurting or tired, like you just don't show it.
Yeah. In 2020, we were able to bring one of my mentors, Ed Kunselman, was able to bring a guy here named Quint Studert. And Quint Studert is an expert at helping small communities revitalize. And he came and he did an assessment of Chillicothe and gave some really great recommendations on things that we could do. And he's got a really great book. But one of the things he talks about in the book is what you permit, you promote. And it's exactly what you just said. If you permit yourself to act in a certain way, then that is the behavior that you are promoting to your team. And if you allow your team to have low standards, you're promoting low standards.
For sure.
And so, you can't compromise. What you permit is what you promote.
And I have this saying in my office at my gym. Same thing. It's just a different way. If you allow it, you deserve it.
Yeah.
That's a quote inside in my office at home, and I hold that close to my heart as well.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to ask you this one. So as I'm learning the ropes, learning how downtown operates and just business and life, what do you, I think I could answer this for you, but I'm going to let you, what do you dislike the most about downtown?
I'm probably going to get in trouble answering this question. I would say this is maybe a broader answer for the community than just downtown.
Okay.
But I think one of the challenges that we have as a community is sometimes there can be this. It's not a malaise. It's a. Sometimes I don't think we appreciate how much potential we have, and so we walk around and we say like, well, it's we got it pretty good, or things are going good, or and there's not always this like inherent drive as a culture in our community to be like, yeah, we're good, but how do we go to the next level? And how do we go to the next level? And what are we doing to push ourselves? And I think for me, that's I'm a person that believes I should be better today than I was yesterday. And what am I doing to challenge myself today to be better than I was yesterday? And that's just kind of like a general philosophy that I carry with myself and that we try to promote within our businesses. And so it's frustrating for me when the community doesn't take that same mindset, that it's like, okay, this is good, but how do we make it better?
Yeah.
And so there is, oh my gosh, there is a world of untapped potential in our community. And sometimes we just don't push ourselves I don't think we push ourselves aggressively enough to be able to achieve that outcome. And so that can be very frustrating to me at times.
Yeah, getting more people to see the glass half full than half empty. For example, just some things that I picked up on in the spring and summer, the hurdles and hiccups of, for example, paving.
Yeah.
Right? It's a necessary evil. Who doesn't want nice, clean, paved streets?
Right.
Are we willing to sacrifice short-term pain for long-term gain?
Yeah.
You know, just as simple. I know I've heard like grumblings throughout the downtown of like, oh, this paving, but are you going to complain that there's potholes, or are we going to suffer 2 weeks?
You know, and we're about to, I guess now we're in the beginning stages of what's going to be some really amazing updates in the park.
Yeah.
And that is like wildly exciting to me. It's new. It's exciting. It's going to be better than it is now, and it's just going to open up all these other doors of opportunity for us as a community. And there's the people that sit on the sidelines and they just complain, and they're like, "Oh, well, it's been this way, and how come we have to change it?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, come on! Like, let's move forward here."
For sure. I tell my staff a lot, I tell my staff to don't come to me with problems. And if you do come to me with a problem, you better come with a solution ready to solve it.
Yep.
We all got problems.
Yep.
I say this a lot, like if Ben lays his problems on the table, if I lay my problems on the table, at the end of the day, we're both going to take back our problems.
Yep.
Because everybody has them. They're just going to look a little bit different.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Ben, we're going to be wrapping this up. We're going to be head down to your location and see the interior structure and all the X, Y, and Z. Maybe see some. It's about staff time, right?
We're open,
rocking out some lunch.
Yeah.
All right, you are 43. We're gonna go back in time. Ben graduates Chillicothe Cavalier May 2000. What does 43-year-old Ben say to 18-year-old Ben?
Stay positive and keep working.
There it is. Stay positive. Keep working. The work yields results.
Yeah.
If you're willing to work, you're able to achieve anything you want.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, Ben, thank you for coming down to my shop. I look forward to having more lunches with you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for the invite.
Let's head to the Poorhouse at Machinery Hall.
Let's go.
Let's go. Hey, we're here at the Poorhouse with your man, Ben Dodders, owner-operator of the Poorhouse at Machinery Hall. We just shot an incredible podcast. Ben's gonna walk us through his facility, show us all the craftsmanships, the wine, the beer, the food. Ben, I'm excited to go inside.
Yeah, welcome. This mural has been here for about 120 years. It's a great piece of Appalachia heritage, and we've been working for a while to secure some grants to try to get it refurbished, because we think it's like one of those things about the history and the culture of downtown that we need to really
Mel pouch, man, it don't need to go away. There's not too many people chewing tobacco these days.
But
it's our really great grandfathers chewed
absolutely.
All right, so we are inside the Poorhouse. The first thing I want to say, Ben, is just the nostalgia, right? 1881.
Yeah.
It's unreplicable. You've done a great job of maintaining the integrity from old to modern. Tell me a little bit about this sign right here on the wall.
Yeah, so this map is an 1889 map of Chillicothe. When we were refurbishing this, one of mine and Kelly's visions was really to bring the history and the tradition and tell that story in the concept of what we're doing. Expanding on that, the frame around the map, and you'll see it a bunch of other places, the wood wall, the countertops, the bar top, the tap handles, even our flight boards that we serve our beer flights on, were all made out of lumber that we salvaged out of the building during the construction process. So cool. Again, like repurposing that.
It's incredible, man. It's incredible. I love the vibes, the color, the rustic browns, the blacks.
Well, that's all my wife. She's the designer. She's got the eye for that stuff.
All right, so here we are right outside the bar area. What, 30 craft beers, 30 beers on tap?
30 beers on tap. We really put an emphasis on craft beer, and we really wanted to put an emphasis on Ohio-based craft beer.
Great.
There's so many great artisans in the state of Ohio. We really wanted to be a venue where we could celebrate that stuff and promote what, you know, the great craftsmanship that's going on in Ohio. So really trying to have a diverse offering to be able to connect with as many guests as we can.
Yeah, and then you got the TVs in case anybody wants to catch a ball game, Buckeyes, NFL, things like
Absolutely.
that. Absolutely. Got to catch the game.
Yep.
Nice.
So yeah, this is our private stage room, kind of, we call this the boardroom configuration.
Yeah,
it's great
for sure.
for corporate events where people can kind of like sit and face each other and have a lunch meeting or a dinner meeting. When we first opened, this building was so loud, you couldn't sit in here and enjoy a meal. We had hardwood floors, hard ceilings, sound just traveled.
Yeah.
One of the cool things for the stage that we're able to do is you see these different historic photos. Like one of my favorite local breweries is Old Capitol Brewery. So that's an actual historic picture of the brewery. This was from World War I. You can see the Majestic Theater right here, the old Majestic Hotel. So those were all old soldiers that would have been stationed at Camp Sherman. This was 2nd Street looking down towards you. So you're down here on the corner.
Yeah.
This is actually the poorhouse right here. Wow. But these are actually acoustic tiles. So we're able to take those old photographs and convert them into functional art. So again, finding like all these different ways to take an old 1881 building and make it functional and useful for today, but bring out the heritage and really celebrate that is, I think, an important part of the experience we want to invest in.
100%. Ben, we're here at Terrace 27, beautiful venue. Tell me a little bit about the heritage and what it took to make this place look the way it does.
Yeah, so the rooftop terrace was a dream of ours of incorporating into the restaurant from the beginning, from day one.
Yeah.
Our intent of this space was to really create a socially engaging space that felt different than really anywhere else that you can experience local, and really just served as another one of those hubs for people to come together and maybe meet or have a cocktail or fall in love or whatever. And so
Date nights.
So
Social nights.
we've got a couple of different kind of lounge style seatings over here and more lounge style seating over here. A little more traditional dining area on this side,
And then fireplace over here.
my favorite part is the anchor of the terrace. It's the fire pit, kind of overlooking the courtyard.
Yeah.
And just a great space in the evening to sit and relax and hang out with friends and have a conversation. So love it up here.
That's Terrace 27. Hey, Ben, well, thank you for not only your time at the podcast this morning. I've learned a lot about you. I've learned a lot about the man behind the scenes. I've learned about the military, the upbringing, and to what you have created at this 1881 establishment is incredible. Kudos to you. Kudos to the staff, to the general manager, to the chef, to the dishwasher, to the janitor. It takes everybody.
Yep.
And kudos to your wife for allowing you to have the dream, the vision to work late nights and trying to continue on that family legacy that your children are going to have something to hang on to forever and be proud. You need to check out Connect with Keeney with Ben, Daughters, the Poorhouse Machinery Hall. We have an amazing episode, 60 minutes coming live to you. Ben, thank you for your time.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.